Welcome to another of my Freethinker React series. I'm Jeff from Freedom to Think Broadcast. Find me everywhere at F2T Broadcast, or check out my podcast, Freedom to Think. You guys have recommended this many times. The latest suggestion from the Hangover Gang family. Please come by and do a reaction to one of ours. We make lyric videos for Tom and Nova as a fan base for the songs that do not get a video release. Would love to see and hear your reaction to Free World or Revenge. Love the channel, love the reactions, love the drive. We're fans of you. Wow, that's very flattering. Thank you guys. I have been told over and over and over again to check out Free World. And I see a bunch of other people have posted videos of the song, and other people have done posts of reactions. So today, after numerous requests, we're going to do Free World. And I will use the lyrical video from your page. You'll be able to find this original link in the video below. I'm also going to link something of Tom's and definitely tag him in this, because that was another big issue with doing this video, is I wanted somehow for Tom to get recognized, since it's his song, with my reaction. For whatever that's worth, I'll throw him a tag and maybe a couple of his links down there. If you enjoy these kinds of videos, please like, subscribe, and comment below what you'd like to see next. If I pick based off your recommendation, I will shout you out in the video. So let's get into this.
They keep trying to divide us. America looking like communist China.
Okay, I know why you guys why you guys wanted me to do this. Luckily, we're not there yet, but a lot of people don't know what communist China looks like. And so seeing little kids run around in hazmat suits and having them bend over and take rectal swabs for COVID, that's what China looks like. Creating a lockdown out of absolutely no necessity whatsoever, and then having everyone know that there will be guards with machine guns outside their doors for an indeterminate amount of time, so they buy every single bag of rice on the shelf, and then they're like rioting over the last of the groceries before they know the government's going to lock them away. There's some Democrats that really want that for you. Not the people, the politicians.
Got us arguing over election results and if boys have vaginas.
2,000 horse donkeys. Remember the whole your facts aren't facts without censoring ours? If you spend any amount of time looking into that, the numbers are pretty insane.
And a healthcare system making people so broke they can pay those bills.
I don't have health insurance. Haven't for a very long time. I also haven't been to the doctor since I was 18. I have one dead toe. And I broke the other leg and it just healed on its own. He's totally right. Can't afford it. Can't afford it. It's like more than my health. It's more than my mortgage to pay for bad health insurance. I'd rather just take my chances. If I break my leg, I'll just YouTube how to fix it.
They don't even care if you're sick no more. Long as you got money, you should take those pills. Distracted by systemic racism, you can't convince me that concept is real.
Yeah, there is no systemic racism. There is just systemic prejudice against the poor. The poor is all colors, but once you get to a certain stage of wealth, you get all kinds of benefits and privileges. You become above the law. I mean, how many of these like rappers and NFL stars have you seen that just like beat their kids or beat their wife or get caught with a giant sack of drugs, and it's a scandal. It's not a felony once you get to a certain level.
That's propaganda from the left-wing news while everyone stands with black people.
Who's like, hey, you know what? We need to like conquer these black people. Nobody. We're cool as shit with the black people. Like everyone. I'm from the city of Rochester, and it's a lot of black people and Puerto Rican people. We were like the only Mexican people there, and my dad lived there, and he was like the only white guy there. And he moved like from the trailer park to the city of Rochester, so there wasn't a whole lot of privilege. And back then, they were doing all of this anti-white propaganda crap, and I mean, he was having to fight people off his entire life, like getting jumped by like 3 to 5 people at the same time over and over again, and the teachers were giggling and laughing and clapping for it.
I don't vote. I don't trust in Donald Trump or Sleepy Joe.
I can respect people not trusting. If that's a lesser of two evils and you have to choose, it's a very, very, very simple choice. And if you don't know which choice that is, you're very ignorant to a whole lot of different areas in our global politics and economy and whatever. But I can understand not trusting. Definitely.
Took our soldiers out Afghanistan, they're homeless when they're home. That ain't woke.
See, Trump had a really good strategy for getting out of Afghanistan and leaving a small force behind, because we leave a small force behind every single place we go. It's just what we do. We have a giant military and we kind of look out for the whole world. Sleepy Joe left $85 billion worth of military equipment for the Taliban. The second we left, they were armed with all that stuff, and then they enslaved the women and children of that country. 2 weeks to conquer the nation. And then they get home and they're homeless and seen as baby killers by some people, and you're just like, what the hell? Like, they didn't choose the war. They just signed a check. Hey, I'm cannon fodder for whatever you need. And those people were protecting those women and children from slavery for 18 years. That's what they were doing over there, for whatever that's worth.
The government claiming in God we trust, but I think that it's horseshit. Let me take that back, that's facts, but it's a different God that they worship.
Dude. Yeah, like Malak Baal Baphomet. There's a lot of people who pretend to be atheists that actually just root for the other team.
They trying to control us, they trying to force us, we living in hell. If their religion means violence and killing, maybe they should start with themselves.
That's pretty harsh. I can't really comment. I don't know what I'm allowed to comment. We would be much better off without a certain group of high-ranking leaders that have really made lots and lots of bad decisions for us. I know you've noticed that everything costs more than it did, like a lot more. Don't let them gaslight you about why. We have printed an outrageous amount of money for all these pet projects and the policies for protective gear and foreign aid for these stupid wars and the blue state bailouts because of the lockdowns. That money that was paid for people to do nothing, or people to do things that didn't work, or bribing schools to enforce policies that did nothing to help our kids, that is why it's inflated. It's the money that's printed. Nothing else affects it like that. Look back after World War I, we pinned all of the financial responsibility on Germany. So they had to pay for the entire show, all the damage of World War I. What happened? They just printed it. That's all they could do. Like, what were they supposed to do? Then you saw people with wheelbarrow loads of money go into the store to get a loaf of bread. Eventually, it became so worthless, they just started burning it to keep warm. At that point, with incredibly hopeless situation, and what do? Absolutely nothing. There's nothing to do. So, out of response, they elect somebody to get revenge on the whole world for them. That's World War II. That's what that all was. I mean, sure, there's more, but they intentionally destroyed Germany after World War I. And that enabled the evil that came out of World War II to happen. Because people are like, okay, so do we just all starve? Or do we get behind this guy who's going to put bread on the table, but he's evil? They chose evil. That's kind of like the tough stuff they don't talk about. And I'm not on his side, obviously. Good God. But you get what I'm saying. A certain problem was created intentionally. And this inflation is created intentionally. And that's how. It's just printing money. Printing too much money.
What happened to the free world? The land of the brave, but y'all are afraid. What happened to the free world? Used to fight for our sons, now we hide and we run. Soldiers die over mercy, so you're free. Show the flag, you get mad, so unique. So unique how you scream over me. Don't get too close to me, I carry openly.
I can't believe how many sad excuses for men there are today. Like, I think about my grandfather. He's 5'1" and just a mountain of machismo. If he saw the way some of his sons and grandsons were acting through this 2-year era over what we know is what it is, he would be ashamed. He would be embarrassed. He'd probably be cussing us out. Very colorfully, I might add. Dude had a way with swear words. Now, I advocate heavily for the Second Amendment, but I don't open carry. I never would open carry because it just paints a target on you. Everyone looks around and they notice things, and a big old 45 on your hip is like a beacon and everyone sees it. And, you know, I'd much rather have a smaller gun you don't see. I understand why. I understand why people carry. And where I work, I see customers all the time walking around open carrying. So, you know, I'm not like afraid of it. I'm always like trying to figure out what they're carrying. I'm like, ooh, is that a cig, dude? Like, you're high rolling over there. It's like, bro, is that a CZ? You got an internal slide? What?
You talk loud, but we know you soft and you ain't even got a backbone. A young kid left to protect your neck and he ain't never coming back home. I miss the old days when we disagree, but at least we still had patience. But if I don't think how you want me to think, you turn around and call me racist.
Yeah. Some of you saw the epic response that I made to some family member who was crazy, and they like reached out to my wife to call me a ignorant racist loser for making like these videos, sharing news. Honestly, the whole like everything is racist deal, that's called cognitive dissonance. So the left calling out the whole side, you have no arguments. You live in a fantasy world full of really, really false pillars of your fantasy world. So like you have to believe certain things that are definitely false in order for that whole structure to work. So when somebody busts out like a fact and then it destroys one of your pillars of belief, your mind goes crazy and you go into like a fight or flight mode. That's cognitive dissonance. And so you'll be like, well, you're a racist. Because that's all you got. You don't actually have an argument. You don't have any logic. You don't have any facts. So because you're realizing on a small level that your whole belief system is trash, you lash out and then continue believing in the lies. So anytime somebody goes to a personal attack after I destroy them in an argument about something, I just stop. It's like Bill Burr says, you just take the knee. You won. Because the person's just like outed themselves as a fool.
That's not fight. Everything's all good unless of course you white. That's not right. I will never say I'm sorry. That's just like.
Yeah, the whole like we hate white people because the slavery thing is just stupid. You need to realize that the Irish were slaves forever. The Slavs were slaves. That's like where it came from. And there were a lot of black people that owned slaves. There are black people today that own slaves. White people were the first to free slaves. So it's just weird that we've pinpointed a group and just decided that we have to hate them at birth because of what certain small percentage of people did to another group of people. And like, it wasn't the only group of people that did that thing to other people, but we're just going to choose them because science, right? I mean, it's just stupid.
How you gonna act like a grown-ass man but you really never had no job? Why you getting mad? I ain't wearing no mask and I ain't trying to take no shot.
As some of you know, but I got suspended without pay, kicked out of my office for not complying with the restrictions anymore because I have certain medical issues and it's none of their business, but I couldn't comply with their stupid rules. And so they freaked out on me, and I explained to them how they actually had no authority. This whole thing is just ridiculous, and there's actually laws that protect you from, the Americans with Disabilities Act. And then obviously there's the HIPAA for privacy laws, We had like the Geneva Convention. We had the Nuremberg trials. Like, there's kind of a whole lot of people that died and were killed so that they couldn't commit these kind of atrocities on mankind without your consent. You know, it's a really important thing, your informed consent. So if I say, I do not give my informed consent, and according to the Americans with Disabilities Act, you who provide a public accommodation have to accommodate me and my medical conditions. Otherwise, that is discrimination, which is illegal. It's basically the same as get your taco eating ass out of here because we don't serve your kind. It's the same thing. And so when I described that to them, they realized, oh crap, we can't fire this guy because he'll own us. Because it would. You guys need to grow some balls and do some research and then stand up for yourself. So anyway, after I had my standoff, everybody at work, because I sent out a mass email to everyone, the whole heads, everybody after they gave me a hard time. And I let them know that they had absolutely no authority, no position, all the legal issues that they were about to face. And they were mad for a few weeks and saw that absolutely everybody stopped complying. Everybody. So 3 weeks of them begging for compliance later, they canceled all restriction, all mandates, all everything. And I got to go back to work. A fucking hero. But there's been so many of these studies at this point. How could you be mad at somebody for making the right choice? I mean, I'm not saying it's the right choice for you or for me, but I'm saying statistically it's the right choice at this point. To have been skeptical and ignored all of their advice, you made the right choice. I'm not telling anyone what to do. It's like, you know, if someone says, hey, I'm going to eat a Snickers with each of my 3 meals every day to lose weight. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know why you think that would be a good idea, but I'm not going to like make it illegal. I'm just going to sit here in bewilderment and watch you do this. It's like seeing somebody drive alone with a mask on.
The next few years gonna be rough. Better have thick skin, treat rough.
Thanks for telling me to look at this. It is gonna get bad. And I don't know if you know, but the cost of food is gonna go through the roof coming up soon. Because the cost of feeding animals, the new, you know, in the spring, all the animals are born. It costs an outrageous amount of money now compared to like last year to feed them. Inflation, hyperinflation. And so when they get finished being raised and they're out for slaughter, then they get priced. And that's going to be inclusive of whatever the cost of raising them was, which is astronomically higher now than it was then. So this fall, probably right before the midterms, you're going to see crazy high food prices. Also, this gas thing doesn't look like it's going to be fixed anytime soon, and it costs a crap load of money to move everything. That's diesel fuel, so everything gets moved by trucks. The cost of diesel's going up. So as the giant amount of supplies kind of runs out and we're going through the newly produced stuff, the newly produced costs are going to be integrated, and the cost of the diesel is integrated. It's just going to be a shitstorm. So if you need stuff, buy stuff now, okay? Because stuff is going to be worth more than money. Basically, everything's going to be more valuable than money. You're going to be better off with beans and bullets than money, than paper money. Buy assets and things that hold their value, because every day your money loses value. That's what happens.
What they gonna do when we come? Better own more than 3 guns.
You should have like 2 for every family member, minimum.
What happened to the
Everyone has 2 arms. Just logic.
free world? The land of the brave, but y'all are afraid. What happened to the free world? Used to fight for our sons, now we hide or we run. While you're playing victims and blame politicians for everything fucked up, we stay screaming fuck the system.
Yeah, the politicians are to blame for a lot of things, but also we are to blame for letting them get that far. Like every time there's a problem, any problem, doesn't matter how big or small, the solution is give up some of your freedom and give them more power. And then these just spineless, clueless people are like, that's a great idea. Then I don't have to deal with it. And it's like, okay, well, now we all have to deal with it because they've been given an outrageous amount of power and they're just sitting there making bad decisions. And we can argue again, is it on purpose or is it not on purpose? Is it just that they suck at everything? I don't know. I can't say for sure, but either way, they're failing. And they keep saying, oh, well, you know what? If I just had more power, I could do it right next time. So we're just going to take more power. And we're just like, I guess I can't really stop you at this point. That's how it feels. Now we can. We could potentially have like a Reagan renaissance, because Jimmy Carter was like the worst president ever. Okay, just totally awful. Inflation through the roof, just sucked. And the voters just absolutely rejected him. You know, landslide for Reagan. And then Reagan had kind of a Trumpish time where it's like, okay, if they're doing all this stuff that's just obviously stupid and doesn't work, and then you do the opposite, you have incredible results really quickly. It almost seems like they do it on purpose. So yeah, if we get some people in that do the opposite of what they've been doing, everything's going to get way better really fast. But we got to show out in November. You got to show out in November and pay attention to your local elections. Like today, it's, you know, I started this before 6, but today is like another local election here. You got to get out and do those votes, man. You got to do it. You got to look at who the people are around you and what they're about. Just make sure they're not funded by like the globalists. If you see that they're like farm raised by the World Economic Forum, that's probably not who you want to be your like DA or your attorney general or district attorney or whatever. Like, just vet your people a little bit and pay attention to local elections. It matters.
Don't shut up, you should listen. You think that you're different, but you're just fucked up. What happened to the free world? The land of the brave, but y'all are afraid. What happened to the free world? Used to fight for our sons, now we hide or we run.
I had a lot of you ask me to do that video. I hope it didn't disappoint. To the Hangover Gang family, thank you for the opportunity with that lyrical video. Just gave me something other than like one picture to look at. I think you did a really good job. I'll definitely tag you and I'll put the original link down below if anyone wants to check it out. I wasn't really sure how to go about this because I just wanted to give some credit to Tom. It's his song. So somehow I'll do that down in the links below. If you guys enjoy these videos, please like, please subscribe. It means so much to me if you subscribe. And comment below what you'd like to see next. If I choose from your recommendation, I will shout you out in the video. This was highly requested and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next one.